man, he's just been having some fun, so much fun in his short, I would say short retirement, but he's getting back in the thick of things. Dr. Joe Maio. Joe, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you, man? It's good to see your face again here. I love it.
I know, man. And you know what? It's like you took a little sabbatical, right? Like, I mean, you came on, and I met you through Dr. Christopher Hoppower, and we just connected, man. I love what you're all about. But then you took like a little sabbatical when this whole coronavirus happened, right? You just kind of did your own thing. And when we connected again, I thought you were just sitting around, just drinking beers and just chilling out. But yeah, you were chilling out. But you were also really active. Let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about, first of all, for those who don't know who you are, and I doubt that there's not many people who don't know who you are by now. But for those who don't know who you are, just kind of tell everybody your background and basically lead it all the way up to today.
Yeah. So, no, it's obviously great to talk to you. Love being with the like-minded people. That's why you and I have always connected, and it's such a fun thing. And quick history. I graduated dental school in 2005. I went to Creighton University. 9/11 actually happened my freshman year of dental school, so that kind of dates me a little bit. And I was actually thinking about dropping out of dental school at the time. I was thinking about joining the Marines. And I was engaged at the time. When I was engaged, I'm just like, well, is this something I really want to do? My ex-wife, we talked about it at the time. It's like, well, do we want to, jump into that? Do I really want to go into dental? So I jumped into, thought about, am I going to leave? Took a year off of just like thinking about what is it that I really want to do, and decided, hey, you know what? Like, I could actually join in the service through dentistry. And that's like another way that I could serve. And looked into it, ended up joining into the Air Force, ended up doing a total of 8 years with them. But I got into private practice. It was in late 2009 is when I got into private practice. Ended up partnering up with another guy. He'd been struggling, quite a bit in running his dental practice. Told him what I wanted to do and how I wanted to, the multiple location dream and, multiple employees, build this empire as much as we could, and kind of wrote it on a napkin, and we connected really well. And then in last year, actually, so we built it from 2010 up until last year. And then last year, the right buyer came along and ended up selling out of the practices. So we went from one practice with about 6 employees and ended up selling 8 practices, which ended up being 3 different buyers. There was 105 employees is what we ended up selling out from. So we've had a variety of different things from, 6 of them were general dental practices and 2 of them were orthodontic practices. And some of them were startups and some of them were just acquisitions. And so I've been through kind of the whole gamut of business of dentistry type stuff that you can be involved with. And it was a good ride. And we were always approached by private equity companies or some of these larger DSOs about joining forces, and it was just never the right opportunity. And when I say right opportunity, it wasn't the right price. And it just never made sense. And then I just got to a stage in my life where it's like, well, what is it that I'm really looking for? What am I trying to do? And this buyer came along and wrote the right check. And I'm like, if you want to do that, that's great. I'm done. And so, it was just September of last year. It's crazy, man, how quickly it came apart.
Yeah. So for those who are watching and listening right now, I heard that story before. I talked to Joe, and the amazing thing about that story, right, is something that he said that was really important. I want you guys all to pay attention to, and that was, you had a vision of what you wanted your life to be, right? Mm-hmm. You had that vision of what you wanted your life to be, and that's when you decided to move on to the next level, right? To sell and move on. And I think that's something that I want us to talk about because, all the stuff that's going on social media right now, look, we all read your post, right? I loved your post, and it's all about, look, we can sit here and we can cry about things, we can get mad, we can get upset, we can get mad at all the things that we can't control.
Yeah.
But what can we control right now, right? And you took control of your life when you said, hey, look, I want to have this certain life, and you transitioned out. And I think for most dentists, what we really need to get back to is, what do you want in your life, right? What kind of practice do you want? What is your ideal life? And why don't you work towards that instead of just kind of spinning around? So, Joe, let's talk about that, man. Why is it so important to have that vision so that, so either you can work towards it or reverse engineer it? Why is it so important?
I think most people go through life not really understanding what this life's about. To me, life is 100% about experiences. It's about the connections that you make. It's about the friendships that you have with other people. It's about spending time with family. And to me, it was always about freedom. Free. Like if I could sum it up to one word, it was, how do we live a truly free life where work is an option and not mandatory? And, it's all about having a balanced life. And so to me, I've had some incredible mentors along the way. I've had just some, just key people that have like shown me, hey, this is how you're supposed to do it. And I would definitely say that I have a good ability to learn from other people's mistakes. I definitely am, not the smartest guy in the room at certain times, but I certainly know that I can learn from a lot of people. And, these mentors that I've had along the way, people, they just kind of live, and they don't really actually know what to do with their life. And so, I wanted to create a business that was a real business. And the way that I defined my business was, does this thing operate without me being involved in it? Because dentists, as great as we are at our craft, as great at being technician, do most of us really own a real business? And the answer is no. Like, what we have is we have a glorified job. I mean, we are way too often a slave to our business. We are way too often, have a boss that just happens to be our corporation.
Yeah.
But when you're at a point in your business to where, you take a vacation and the value of your business goes down, like, is that really something that's good? I mean, some of my best months that I ever had when I was in business were from the doctors that I had put in place, from my team members that I had put in place. They would just kill it, and they didn't even need my help.
Yeah.
And to me, that was that freedom, being able to see the bank account go up while I was on vacation with my kids, and so I looked at 5 key areas of my life. And those 5 key areas that I really wanted to be impactful in my life were, yes, part of my finances, because I wanted to take better vacations.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to buy a nicer house, like some of the material things. I also wanted to buy better experiences. I mean, I wanted to eat at nicer restaurants, and, instead of sitting on the, 50th row of a concert, sitting right up front. I mean, those things I enjoyed. So finances were a big part that I looked at. I looked at my physical side. What good was it going to be to build this great business, but be some fat guy that can't jump on the trampoline with his kids?
Yeah.
So I really looked at what I wanted from a physical level. Not only developing physical, the third thing I looked at was, my mental game. How do I strengthen my mind and keep going and keep doing, different things there. So there was the financial, there was the physical, there was the mental, there was also social. What are my relationships with others? How do I want those relationships to look like? So, conversations like we're having right now, or, going out to dinner with friends, what did I want that to look like? And so, that was kind of the fourth area I looked at. The fifth area I looked at, the fifth and, final one was the spiritual sides of things. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of us just kind of go through the day-to-day process being lost. And, to me, it was never about whether you believed in a certain God or, Buddha or Jesus or Allah or anything like that. Like, it was never about that. It was just, we're put on this earth to serve other human beings. And no matter what your beliefs were, how do you make other people's lives better? When I was in balance with those 5 things, and in fact, to this day, I mean, I'm always bouncing back and forth among those 5 areas. If I'm ever like in a dark spot or something, one of those areas is out of balance. And so I always just come back to those areas like, hey, what am I missing or where am I lacking? And let me get back into balance. And when you get those 5 areas in there, you're in freedom. It's such an incredible place to be. And that's just, that's what the opportunity provided me with last year. Cause now I've got the freedom of time, energy, and money that everything's a game at this point. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
And with this renewed freedom, I mean, you've been in my group, Chris's group, all these other groups, just dropping really good advice, and all these doctors are always reaching out to you, and you have time to talk to them and whatnot. Yeah. But I want to kind of hit on what you were just talking about there, and I think that's so important. I keep on going back to that because it just frustrates me when sometimes people look. It's okay to rant once in a while, right? But if you're complaining about, I'm working this amount or this and that. To me, it's like you don't have what your goal. I mean, you don't know what your goal is, I mean, if your goal is just to make a bunch of money and you work all the time and you complain that you don't have time to spend time with your family, or you don't have time to work on your business, then you're just running on this like hamster wheel that never stops. Okay. Mm-hmm. So right now, people are going back to work, right? Right now, they're ready to go. Right. And to me, I think this is the perfect time to work out those kinks, to really figure out what you really want. So let's talk about the hamster wheel. So for the docs that you see all the time, they post on there and they're complaining like, oh gosh, I can't get out of this rat race. How did you do it? And what would your advice be to them?
Okay. Get the hell off Facebook. I mean, no, honestly, there is so much time that's wasted on social. Like I was blown away. Fear paralyzes people. Yeah, it really does. And it's a shame that people allow that to happen, because when you make the decision to ultimately take control of your life and decide, you know what? I want my life to look this way, and I'm going to go do it. I'm going to actually take the action, do it. Because look, you can spend all time, all day you want, and, you can have great conversations on Facebook. But if you look at 90% of the people that are on there, my God, what a waste of time. It's one of those things like people just want to, they need an outlet, and it's, they need to do this stuff. Social media is an incredible tool, and you can get an incredible amount of information on there. But if you can't sift through all the bullshit, and I hope we can say that on here, because like this is real talk, right? Like we
want real talk.
Yeah, we've got to get to the real meat of things. And look, I'm all about helping other people, and I'm all about like getting results more than anything. And no good results ever came from inaction. Like we can all sit in a room and talk about how terrible COVID was. Yeah, it sucks, man. There's a lot of businesses that are going to suffer as a result of what happened. There's a lot of businesses that are going to go under. But there's going to be a big exchange of money. The money, wealth isn't going anywhere. It's just exchanging hands. I mean, there's going to be a ton of people that get so wealthy from this crisis, and there's going to be a ton of people who lose everything they've ever worked for. Yeah. I know what side I want to be on. And when you make that choice that you want to do that, then it's like, okay, well, what actions do we take?
Mm-hmm.
The things with COVID and everything that's happened with it, the reason why I got it, like I took this like little hiatus here, is all of this stuff that was happening with COVID was completely out of our control.
Yeah.
I recognized that immediately. And I saw people saying, we need to do this, and blah, blah, blah. You know, look, nobody knew what was happening. Nobody knew the severity of it. Half the world is going to tell you that, this is the flu and you need to ignore it. The other half is going to say, stick inside, wear a mask, and never go to the grocery store again. Okay, fine, whatever. You're not going to change somebody's political beliefs. You're not going to change somebody's things. We can have productive conversations, but at the end of the day, life's going to get back to normal if we allow it. It has to. We live in America, okay? And we have certain freedoms that have been gifted to us from our creator, from the universe, whatever you want to call it. We don't live in a country to where we have to abide by these rules, stick in your house, do all these things. And I'm not saying being careless. I'm not saying, this wasn't a serious, thing that happened. I think the politicians are on both sides, blue or red. They're using this crisis as an opportunity to push their political agendas. And it's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're clear about what you can control, and that's why I got off social media. It's like, okay, people are going to be just going back and forth, oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. But nobody knew what was going to happen. So why don't I take this time to just be productive on my own without other people? Let's be productive and just, see what kind of value you can create, because that's where real wealth is created. Money follows value. That's where the wealth, the happiness, if you're creating value for other people, that's when you can benefit from it. And I think if you can focus on serving other people first and what you can actually control, your business will take off. I don't care what crisis hits us. It could be the housing crisis, the stock market could crash, the COVID-29 could happen. All of these things that are going to happen, it's all about your mindset. And if you can control your mind to take action on the things that are productive, you're going to be just fine in anything. But yeah, man, it's a bum deal, because a lot of people let this fear paralyze them, and they got sucked into these hours and hours of conversations on Facebook and, talking to their neighbors across the street, from across the street, because you can't get close to anybody. It's just absurd. Imagine if they took half that time and worked on developing that vision for their practice, how much further they would be today. When are people going to decide, I want my practice to look like this, and I'm going to do it? If you didn't do it yesterday, today's the next best day.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, that's mic drop right there, man. We could just close up shop right there. You just dropped it right there. Some real talk from Joe there. Guys, if you like what you're hearing right now, show us some love. Show me and Joe some love. Type in the comments section, Joe. Really easy, just Joe. Okay, so look, man, something that you and I just learned just now, what we have in common. We started our practices in the midst of the housing crisis, right? People were losing their homes. People didn't have any money. I mean, I opened in 2009 as well. And honestly, when I opened that, I just thought, man, this is it's kind of hard, man, opening a practice. I didn't put one and one together. I just said, man, this really sucks. I got to really hustle my butt off, right? Yeah. And then things got better. And then I'm like, wow, this is really easy. The thing is very recently, everyone has been riding that wave, right? Oh, man, this is great, right? Now you're getting a dose of reality, a big slap in the face, right? Mm-hmm. So, Joe, Let's put you back in time. Let's put you back. Let's put the hat back on you. Okay, you got your practice again, and you're coming out of this. Let's get a game plan. Let's get a game. You've done this before. You've done it with multiple practices. You've seen everything. You've had every type of practice, every type of associate. So I want you. You are a practice owner right now, and you're about to open up again. What's your game plan? How do you tackle this?
It would be the exact same approach I did in the first place. You know what? I would put my blinders on, and I would focus on what I used to teach in my offices. It was the very simple understanding: the market, schedule, treat, collect, refer, repeat. And it was, I would focus first on how do I serve other individuals, because I was taught at a young age that, as if you want a tree to grow, you don't, and maybe you don't like the way the tree looks. Maybe the leaves aren't like blossoming or something like that. And maybe you want it taller. It wasn't like I sit there and focus on the leaves. It was maybe I need to give it more sunlight. Maybe I need to give it more water. Maybe I need to talk to this thing a little bit more. So it was always about the input, and if the input would get focused on, the output would happen. And so I wouldn't let right now I wouldn't get discouraged. Everybody's in the same boat. Everybody on this planet, literally, like for the first time in my life, everybody on this planet is experiencing some.
It wasn't like 2009 where some people who are affected like by the real estate and whatnot. Now this is like everybody now.
Everybody's job. Okay, it has been affected to some extent. Some governors are better than other governors, and you know what? Like some areas of the country were hit harder, and so, but the principles don't change. If you focus on the input, okay. So well, that's easy to say. Focus on the input, the output will happen. Well, what are the inputs? Okay. Well, the inputs are literally. Let's start with marketing. You have to start with marketing. How do you get your message out to the world? Okay. How do you let somebody down the street know that you're there to take care of them? And it's literally, with Facebook and online presence and, postcards and all the variety of different ways that you can get your name out there. Like here's the thing. The beautiful thing about dental practices is, most banks will finance pretty much 100% of them and give you working capital on top of it. You don't have to go and raise $1 million or $2 million or something like that, right? Like you can literally get money from the bank and not have to give up any equity of your practice. So you get some working capital and you put some money towards marketing. Okay. Hey, I'm here on the corner. You have a sign for your building. You start letting people know that you're there. You implement this incredible, just word of mouth internal referrals program. And you just take care of one patient at a time. And you take care of your staff, one team member at a time. And you slowly, organically do that. You start, once you get those systems in place, of marketing, and patients start showing up. Okay. Well, there's got to be a systems and protocol that we follow every time. So our system was literally those 6 words, hey, we're going to market to people. We're going to have a system for scheduling. I want my crown scheduled this way. I want, my filling scheduled this way, the root canal scheduled this way. Every practice is different. It was unique to how I wanted my practice run and just how other people had run their practice. I didn't reinvent the wheel. It was a general dental practice. And I just worked on my technical skills, but what I mainly worked on was my interpersonal skills. I worked on how do you talk to people? Because at the end of the day, Glenn, I wish people would understand this concept. Like you don't get paid to do dentistry.
Yeah.
You don't. You get paid to close dentistry. Like you get paid to deliver the service. And, so if you market to them, you schedule them, you treat them. So hey, you've got to have the technical skills to diagnose. And fortunately, with the military background, I did an AEGD, and I would highly recommend that to anybody because, I felt comfortable doing wisdom teeth. I felt comfortable doing molar endo. Wasn't smart enough for ortho, but, I could see the end product. I wanted a good bite and straight teeth, but I didn't know how to get there. But I knew I wanted that in my practice, so I thought I could bring somebody in to do those services. And so you have to develop the technical skills, but more importantly, you have to be able to show people why they need your service. And so that's where that interpersonal skills came on. The thing with dentistry and general dentistry is, cells and things like that, people can come across as being pushy. Like everything in dentistry is elective. In general dentistry, it's elective, other than if your face is swollen or maybe your airway's blocked. It's elective. A filling's elective. A root canal's elective. You can extract it and put an implant. You tell me what's not elective in dentistry other than those things. A cleaning's elective. Like nobody has to do, people aren't going to die from dentistry unless it gets bad enough.
Sure.
So you have to be able to treat the person, not the tooth. And so, your original question of what would I do? I'd put this game plan in. Okay, I'd market to them. I'd schedule them a specific way. I would treat them and, not only from a technical aspect, but from a interpersonal aspect. I would collect from them because I value my time. It blows me away when people are starting off their business.
You see it all the time, Joe, in the groups.
Why? Like, do you literally feel that?
Joe, set the one straight there. Okay, this is for all the people who have that issue about the collecting the payment and all that. Joe, just say it. Just say everything that me and Chris and all of us always talk about and we get ticked off about.
If you have a problem collecting payment or even asking for payment for your service, you probably hate yourself. I'm going to say that right now. Okay. And here's, or not that you hate yourself, and maybe that's a little harsh. It's not that you hate yourself. It's that you don't believe you're providing any value. That's literally what's happening. If you don't think you're providing value to that patient, then by all means, don't collect. Don't charge them for anything. But if you literally think that by them coming to your office, sitting in your chair, and you delivering a service to them is actually improving their life, what's wrong with collecting money for that? Mm-hmm. And if you do have a problem with that, you're in the wrong. You should not own your business. You shouldn't work for a business. You should work for a nonprofit. And there's nothing wrong with that. I hope people understand it. There's nothing wrong with it. What I have a problem with is when people try to confuse what business actually is, because make no mistake about it, business is two reasons and two reasons only. Make a profit, make a difference.
Yep. Absolutely.
You make a profit so you can make more of a difference. So you can employ more people, so you can help more patients, so you can grow your communities, so you can, have more time for your family, so you can take your family on different vacations. You can give other opportunities, so you can give money away. This is the funny thing. People think they're being so altruistic, oh, just pay me, when you can. What a bunch of crap. That sucks. Because at the same time, what are you doing? Well, what you're doing is you're actually telling your staff you don't value their time. And so you're not going to give them any raises because you're terrible at running your own business. You're actually telling your vendors, hey, you know what? I don't care that you're supplying me with certain, chairs and equipment to run this great business. You're basically shitting on your entire community. That's what's happening.
So Joe, I'm going to put this out there. Okay. And it's on the same vein. And look, first of all, before I ask this, guys, if you like what you're hearing, type in the comment section, Joe, show us some love. Type in there, Joe. Okay, I'm going to give you a scenario here. There's a scenario that comes up in Nifty Thrifty all the time, and it makes me want to scream, okay? Patient comes in, they do the procedure, insurance doesn't pay. Should I write it off or should I have the patient pay? Joe, what do you say to that?
I know I didn't get into dentistry to, and this is okay. Let me back this up. I'm going to preface this with this. My practices were 95% PPO.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. I was a heavy, we had it was a volume driven business. Okay. And in my specific market, that made sense. Now, those were the rules of the game that I chose to play. At the same time, I didn't get into dentistry to have some pencil pusher that couldn't make it behind the scenes in business tell me what I could and couldn't do in dentistry. You know, we basically did this. Hey, if your insurance doesn't pay for it, you're on the hook for it. Okay. And it was one of those things. The money comes from one of two spots. And the relationship with insurances is not my relationship with the insurance. That patient has a relationship with insurance. The insurance can potentially be a benefit, but it's not really a benefit. It's actually a discount. And this is the conversation I'd have with patients. It's like, look, hey, I'm going to do everything I can to maximize your insurance benefits, but in all reality, it's just a discount. Okay. And the work that we're doing here, they may not pay for it. It's still going to be your obligation to pay for that. And so, because the money comes from the patient or the insurance, and that's it. And you know, and we ran an in-house membership to also like overcome, you know, any cash paying type things. I mean, I had one practice that drove me crazy. I mean, we had, you know, we would offer a special for $100, and the guy down the street would, you know, offer it for 99, and they would go, you know, a couple patients would leave. It would drive me crazy. But people will part with their money if they understand the value. And I said all.
I think that's so important. I think it's so important that you said that about the insurance thing, because as you know, you're in the Nifty Thrifty group, and you know most practices in here, they're heavy PPO. Mm-hmm. I am. You were. And the thing is people are like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna write it off. Oh, okay, I don't want to make the patient mad. And it drives me crazy because you did the work.
Yeah.
Did you do a good job? Yes, you did. Did you do everything? Did you treat them like one of your family members? Yes, you did. Okay, so that's not your problem. That is the insurance problem. They are the bad guy. But yet, why do you want to write it off? Or why do you want to? Why are you scared to tell your patient to pay?
Yeah.
Out of fear that they would leave. Look, if they were gonna leave you for that, that's not even the type of patient you want.
No, it's not, because the thing is, at the end, it does come down to patient education. I mean, you have to be doing your job to explain what insurance really is, and the patient has to feel. I mean, people buy on emotions, and so the patient has to feel that you have their best interest. And it doesn't have to come from a sales standpoint. Like, you legitimately have to have the patient's interest at heart. Like, okay, how do I best take care of you? Well, it's not what look, insurances, I don't blame insurances for this. This is the dentist problem. Yeah, sure insurances suck. But at the same time, their business model is to not pay you. And we need to understand that. Like, the value of that stock goes up. And the game that they are playing is to not release the money to you. So as long as the dentist, like as a dentist, if you can understand that's the game the insurances are going to play, and if you want to play that game, fine. If you don't want to play that game, get out of the insurance. No, nobody's holding a gun to your head and says you can't be fee for service. You know,
that's so important, Joe. That we kind of led with that, right? If you hate the way your practice is going, if you hate what you're doing, if you hate the fact that you got to even step in your office, all those things. I mean, life is too short. Life is too short to do that. And you and I, we talked about that before. We go into Doc's group and we read a bunch of posts, right? And there's people complaining about stuff, and especially like right now, right? So, I mean, what do you say to those people who just complain about their situation? What's the quickest way out of that situation?
A shovel to the side of their head, you know? No, quick. I say that in jest, but really, like, you need a knock upside the head to be able to say. There's two kinds of mindsets. You can have an abundant mindset, or you can have a scarcity mindset. what game do you want to play in? Like if you hate insurance so bad, get out of the insurance game. Or learn how to work the rules. Like learn how to play the game better. Study up on it. Like, I mean, some guys would come to me and they're like, "Oh, I can't believe you take that insurance. You can only get $435 a crown." And it's like, well, no, I can get $435 a crown. I can charge the patient $100 lab fee. If this much of the tooth is missing, I can get a buildup with it. And if I wanted to, which we wouldn't, but if you wanted to, for specific types of crowns, you could even charge more. Like you just learn these individual coding things that you have to be educated on to be able to make your practice profitable. And then, get off your high horse, docs. Like, we don't need to charge $2,000 for a crown. Like, you can make, you don't need to have what I did is I negotiated with my labs, a local lab that was here because the volume that we had. The guy was incredible ceramist, just such a good, the best lab technician I've ever had. I negotiated fees with him because, some of the insurances were a little bit lower. And we just had that relationship of seeing the big picture of, okay, at the end of the day, who are we trying to take care of? We're trying to take care of our entire community. I made the lab technician guy part of my team. It's one of those things, like, this goes well beyond this mouth that you're just taking care of. Mm-hmm. You're trying to take care of this patient. You're trying to take care of the entire community. Where's your head at? I mean, you're a business owner. You're a doctor. Like, what does that mean to be a business owner, to be a doctor? Like, a business owner is a leader in the community. Like, you need to take that role. There are people who are dependent upon you running a good business. And you actually, like, if you take that step into this, which I took it with great pride, and I hope everybody who is listening to this and the business owners out there, I hope they have a very strong sense of pride in their business. And I'm assuming most of them do, because you literally have a moral obligation to run an efficient business. Yeah. Like, people depend on you for their livelihoods. People depend on you to put food in their kids' mouths. People depend on you to keep the lights on in their house. And charities and things like that depend on strong business leaders to do great things. Like, we ran such an efficient business, Glenn, that we ended up doing, we created our own, it was our Smiles for Success program. Mm-hmm. The first year, what we did is you could either get like a free filling, a cavity, free filling, a free cleaning, or one free extraction. That day, we did a little over $100,000 worth of dentistry in one day. Wow. In one day, 100% free. Now, it was a huge community event. Over the course of the 3 years of doing it, we ended up doing close to like $500,000 in donated services and products by getting other people involved. Like, this is like what running a good, efficient business allows you to do. I was able to employ more doctors and take more time off. Like, those are the things that allows you to. And then, here I am, and like, I'll tell the audience, I'm 42. Okay. I've gotten to a place in my life where work's an option. If like right now I'm doing a training for this race, yesterday I had a great mountain bike ride for like 5 hours. I didn't have to go to work. And people just need to decide what kind of life they want to have. And I always want to be productive. That's the thing. You've got to be productive in life, and you've got to keep creating value. You can't just sit around and be a bum. Like, you've got to continue to help people. And I think that's what, as I've stepped out of our industry last year and I started paying attention to more about what was in our industry and what wasn't in our industry, man, because I've had my blinders on, and like I've really just been focused on how do we make Apex Dental the best dental practice in this area. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we grew our practices all around the valley here. How do I make this the best one? I don't care if there's 15,000 dentists around me. I mean, I don't know how many times people told me, "Oh, you're never going to make any money there. You're never going to. The market's so saturated." Show me a market that's not saturated.
Yeah.
You know, like that's the thing. Like there's dentists everywhere. But when half the population's not even like getting dentistry done anyway, you know, there's plenty of patients to go around for everybody. There's plenty of things like, why are you focusing on what somebody else is doing? Focus on how you can run your business better. And it's all about the value creation and the life that you want. Like that's what it is.
I love that message and I love that post. And guys, you know, you've read his post. If you like what he's saying, type in the comments section, Joe. And you know, you've been on social media and you've been helping all these docs out. You know, obviously I've talked to you a bunch of times. Doc Hoffpower has as well. And we just pick your brain and whatnot. And you've decided to do something. You know, so many people have reached out to you. You have all this knowledge. And I've been telling you, I was like, man, you got to do something here. You got to help some of these docs out, man, or at least have some real talk with some people here. Yeah. And you told me something the other day. We had a conversation. You're like, you know, Glenn, yeah, I've been away for good reason. Yes, you know, I've been recharging and taking care of myself and whatnot. But you dove in and you got tired of people complaining. You got tired of people having this like defeated attitude. And you actually did something about it. You actually did something about it. So, you know, I have this little logo up that says Doctor's Edge, and people are wondering, like, what is that? I mean, we can see the mountains in the background there. Try to pay a little homage to Utah there. But
I like it.
What does that mean? What did you do? What is this project that I kind of teased in the post that you worked on in response to all this?
Yeah. Let me just back up real faster. You'd mentioned, you know, these things. Look, like you, Doc Hoffpower, like some of these other large groups, you know, over time, you guys have created this huge platform. You know, I mentioned like people getting off Facebook and things like that. There's a lot of good that comes from these communities. Okay. And there's a lot of good information out there that people can share. And, you know, we need that social networking with other individuals. And so, you know, I mean, huge shout out to yourself. You know, and I appreciate what you've done. And I know people that are listening to this definitely appreciate what you do. You guys are creating value outside of that dental chair. And when I was on these groups, I've never been so disappointed at some of the advice that's coming out there. Mm-hmm. Like I looked at it and not so much disappointed. Like there's some solid individuals that are on those groups, but man, let's just say what it is. There's a lot of shit out there. There really is. And it needs to stop. It really does. Like I see some consultants out there, you know, as I started making posts when I first got on, it was like, you know what, here, I'm just going to offer some free content. Let's see, you know, people need some help. I got some time. I'm going to help them out. No plans, nothing there. I got asked several times to do consultant work, and it just really wasn't my thing. And so to me, like a consultant or a coach or a therapist, whatever you want to call them, okay, if they're doing their jobs properly, they're going to put themselves out of business. Mm-hmm. Okay, like literally, like let's think about it. If a consultant is doing their job, I see so many consultants, and if they're on here watching this, great. I hope you hear what I'm saying. Okay, you don't need people to pay you for years and years and tens of thousands of dollars for you to hold their hand through this process. Like, shame on you. Like, really, shame on you. Give them the tools that they need to go take action. Give them the tools that can actually like make sense on a simplified version and go do it. Because here's at the end of the day, if I have to hold your hand and say, dude, and we have to have a conversation every single day and we might as well be partners in the practice, you know? But consultants take these fees, they lower the profitability of the practice. They give one or two pearls. Usually what they'll do is they'll give you, you know, 35 100 different binders of information, and you're like, what the hell do I look at? What do I actually implement? And so I literally I'm a simple guy. I wanted to create something. Okay, if I was going to start over, or if I was going to mentor somebody or truly coach somebody, what would I, if I was the kid in dental school or the business owner that maybe doesn't know, really where to take my practice, what would I want to know? And what's the simplest way, the quickest way, and the cheapest way to get there? Mm-hmm. Because the thing is like, it's not, there's not like you can find free information out there everywhere. Okay. But what do you take and do with that information? People that are overweight, well, it's pretty there's no magical thing, right? It's like, stop putting food in your mouth and exercise more. It's an input output thing, right? It's like, let's not get all oh, this is such a tough thing, where people are eating their feelings and things like that. It's like, okay, hey, hold on. I get there's stress, I get there's life, but at the end of the day, if we want results, it's an input output thing. So what I did during this COVID time, instead of all the things that were unproductive, instead of the things, the conversations that I just wasn't getting any joy out of, I'm like, okay, people need help. I literally started with this, how do we help other people that are people are scared. Mm-hmm. They don't have any leadership. They don't have any direction. They're, they have all these bills that are coming on. They don't know how to take care of their staff. They're wondering about their own personal financial responsibilities, and they're uncertain about the future of their practice. How do I create something that will actually help them? Because I was getting asked all the time, and it became a time thing for me. Yeah. And so what I did is I created a 7-day dental MBA program. Literally everything that I did in my practices, 1 to 2 hours a day. It's not a 10-hour course every single day where you have to sit down and do this. No, it was, here's what you need to do. Here's what the mindset you need to have. Here's the marketing we did. Here's what I did from an operational and training standpoint. Here's the scorecards I had. Here's the systems. Here's some of the supplemental businesses I had, because I've already put out there free stuff like the systems that we had. Yeah. It was literally just literally, here's 100% of the systems I used. If you want, and then you know what I was going to do? I'm going to make this incredibly inexpensive for people, because I'm in a place where, I'm free financially. I don't need to make a lot of money off of this. I need to cover some costs, but I need to, people need help. They need direction. And these other coaching programs, I just stop it, please, guys, stop. Stop destroying these dentists with this information that just sucks. Yeah. Stop doing it.
All right, guys, for those who are watching, all right, Joe has a very nifty and very thrifty price for this, but he'll tell you what it is if you type in the comment section here. I know you guys are listening intently, but type in the comment section, type Joe, show us some love here. So Joe, I'm gonna ask you this, because like I said, I don't think people realize you literally put this together very quickly. I mean, you used this time. You saw
very quickly over the last 10 years. Man. Yeah, very, very quickly over the last 10 years. Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about the videos. I'm talking about the video itself, the actual course. I know it's 10 years of experience and whatnot, but putting it together in this package, I was astonished at how fast you kind of threw it together.
Yeah, it was. We did it. I've got I'm working on some other business adventures here and stuff, just because they're fun to me. Doing some other stuff outside of dentistry that's just really kind of cool. And I have one of my marketing guys that used to work with me in my dental practices that currently works for me right now. And I'm like, you know what? We're going to create this for our dental counterparts. Let's help them out. Grab the camera. Let me get on the whiteboard and let's go. And so I what we did is he and I sat down. We outlined everything that we had at Apex, what we would want to know. And, you know, it was literally just, okay, here's some of the things that we can do. And so we created the outline, and I'm like, let's see if we can get this in one take or in two takes. And, you know, for the most part, we got it in one take, but I literally sat down in front of a whiteboard and said, here you go. I already had the spreadsheets created. I already had the other stuff that we did in my offices. So I just put everything together. Like, I mean, you literally can follow along with the supplemental materials. So, you know, we put it together quickly, but it was something, the systems and processes that we'd been developing over years. And I'm just like, you know what, like, it's one thing to share it on Facebook, but if you can have something to where you're literally watching me, how we did it in our office, like, okay, cool. Like, and let's show those guys how to do it. And so that's what I did. I sat, sat there for, a couple of weeks with him and just making those videos, and he put together the marketing sides of it over a week. And so it was less than a month that we were able to create this thing. But again, it's a 10 years in the making, but it's valuable information. It's not I'll tell you what it is it's the nuts and bolts. It's no BS. It's not anything it's not the fluff. It's not okay, let me show you how to like do this kind of thing or this. It's literally you sit down for 1 to 2 hours a day. And then in a week, if you implemented everything that you have in the, like that I give in there, I will guarantee that somebody like here's the thing, Glenn, just so you know, these systems, when I first started our practice, the first year we were doing just a little over 500,000 in annual revenue. Okay. That was the first year. Okay. We took our practices when I sold, we were doing over 9 million in annual revenue. Now I know there's guys that blow that number out of the water. Awesome. I love those guys. That's fantastic. But it wasn't anything like crazy magical we did. Like we kept it simple. And so when the average Utah dental practice, was doing in the high 500s and the national average is doing like you think in the mid 700s, my goal was to get our practices up as a lot higher. How do we get this? How do we replicate this? How do we create these systems? And so I simplified it, and I didn't. And if you take this in, the investment, you got guys that are charging day courses $1,000, $10,000, $50,000. I don't know if you want me to share the price, Glenn, but like
I think you need to, because seriously, I mean, you just put it right there. I mean, some of these day or even weekend courses, you're paying a couple of G's there, and here you are, you're like, look, I want to give back. People, well, a big thing is people kept on messaging you. What a way to just say, hey, look, guys, you got some questions? Here you go. I'm just putting it all here. But what did you priced it at something that I think is, I'm not going to even say value. I want to say it's a steal. Okay. This is like take advantage of this before Joe, wakes up here. You know what I'm saying? It's like before he changes his.
I did this honestly because like, I don't want to sound arrogant here, but I don't need the money. I don't like, it's not one of those things. Like this to me is like, how can I provide enough value? Like I would take a tremendous amount of satisfaction of seeing a lot of wealth created in this world as a result of this program. Okay. And we priced it at $499. That's, literally there was enough to cover production costs and some things. $499 to learn everything and anything you will ever need to know on how to run a dental practice. Like,
that's a steal, Joe. $499, guys. I mean, you guys got to type in the comment section for that, Joe. Yeah, but seriously,
I tell you what, dude, I like, look, dude. Like, I'll even do this for people that are on this. The first 5 people that buy this course, like, let's get on the phone and chat for 30 minutes, like after you watch the videos, and I will help you implement and answer any questions that you may have. Like, I'll give you my cell phone, give me a call. Like,
well, you said 5, right? Because I'm about to pull out my phone and start messaging people right now to be that.
Yeah, the first 5 people, like, listen, let's get on the phone. Let's talk 30 minutes. Let's talk an hour. Let's just see what's unique in your practice and how like I can help you implement. Like, I'm not interested in ongoing consulting services, you know, like I'm not interested, like I'm interested in like, just like, let's help you guys grow your practices. Let's get you guys back on track. And yeah, I mean, cause it's a much needed thing in our industry. I can't believe how quickly the conversation changed. I mean, 2 months ago, Glenn, you and I were having a completely different conversation.
Yeah.
Like this whole Corona thing. You know what I want from this? If anything can come from this.
I mean, we were talking about going to visit you out in the mountains, man. And
we wanted to go sit on the beach and drinking Coronas, not like, you know, ranting about Corona, right? Like we need to, there's just, I get that it's a scary time for people. I totally can empathize with that. I totally can understand, hey, you know what? People need help and it's a scary time. Okay. The real question is, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to do with your practice? What are you going to do with your life? Like, what do you want it to be? And some people may leave the industry. There's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And there's some people that are going to thrive in this industry. But if you can have like, okay, here's my business. This is what I want. And I want a real business. I want a real profitable business, but I want just like a fulfilling business. Because I mean, you've seen it. Like, look how many burned out dentists and practice owners there are. Look how many people are just like, if I see one more tooth, I'm going to shoot myself. I mean, how many people check out, you know, like it's got to stop. You know, like there's so, and it's such a rewarding profession. It's such a great thing. Why are we not taking control of our lives? Why are we not making our business what it can be? And why, when did it become like, I get that business is cutthroat, but holy hell, like, you know, I'm focused on like a 5-mile radius around me. You know, we're talking to, you know, all the people around the world here. Why is it that, you know, I've got to argue with some guy that's over in New York or in Florida? Like when did collaboration become such a bad thing? Or when did I, you know, want to hold this guy's hand for the next 2 years and charge him tens of thousands of dollars to give him worthless information? What the hell? Why did we do that as a profession? Like there's so much power in learning from each other. Like the only way that I got to where I was at is I opened up my ears and people helped me. Like people were so gracious with their time. And I always swore, like, I mean, I always swore to myself, when I get to a position where I can help other people and just like do these things, like I'm going to do it. Like, and so, but you know, the funny thing is I took that mentality from day one. Like, just because your practice isn't like extremely profitable right now doesn't mean that you can't have some kind of service of giving back. And that doesn't mean doing free dentistry on every single patient.
Yeah.
You know, like there's other ways to serve. And so like that mentality has to start today. But man, you can, I honestly think the way that dentistry is going to going forward, like I'm extremely hopeful. Like I would be so excited to start more practices right now because it would be easy. It'd be scary, you know, like, okay, sure, there's some new regulations and there's some new things. But Glenn, you know, you started back when all the housing crisis was happening.
Oh, yeah.
Like the principles aren't changed today. Like you still have to work hard. You still have to, you know, build your business. You still have to, you know, rely on great team members. Like none of that's going to change, you know, and you're still going to have shitty days. Okay. Like that's going to happen. You are human, but at the end of the day, man, like, God, like go make it happen. Go do something. Right. You know, and so
that's a mic drop right there. There's nothing else I could say, but I will say this, guys. That's some real talk. I wanted to bring Joe on here and do some real talk here. Someone who's been through a lot of different things, who started kind of the same time in a crisis and was able to thrive. And here's the thing. People are always reaching out to him. When he told me about this program he had and the price that he put it at, I was so excited. I was really excited for these dentists because I have some of these dentists reaching out to me too. Just don't know what to do. Well, I'll tell you what, if you want to take one step, right, a step that's not going to put you back years or going to cause you to take another loan out or anything, a very modest investment. And Joe put it out there himself. He said the first 5 people, he's going to make sure you guys are okay. He's going to take time out of his schedule to work with you. I mean, if you want to take that first step, this is it. This is it right here. So, Joe, I want to say this, man. Super generous of you, man. Super generous, because I can tell you what, man, you and I both know you can charge way more than that. But I love the spirit behind it. And it's so timely because of what's going on right now. So, Joe, I want to say this, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for being a friend, but also for giving back, man, for giving back to not only all these other Facebook groups, but this Facebook group too. I appreciate it, man.
Now, Glenn, you're awesome, man. You've created such a cool platform for so many people. It's, you know, without these platforms, the collaboration wouldn't happen, and, you know, doctors can learn, and it's obviously a huge shout out to you. You know, look, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but at the end of the day, like I guarantee, like, you know, what I do brings results. I mean, like that's at the end of the day, I want people to have results, because I know communities are better off when the results happen. And, you know, to the people that listen here, I mean, if, you know, whatever way I can help out, great. Let's find a way to do that. But yeah, it's such, you can look at this right now, like, okay, hey, COVID happened. It's time to get to work. You know, COVID happened. That's the thing. That's in the past.
Yeah.
From the past, you know, you can plan for the future, but hey, focus on the present moment. What am I going to do today to be better than I was yesterday? And let's go. Let's do it. You know, like, let's create the business that we know we all can. And so, but thanks, man. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Nice talking to you, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, guys, for watching. I'll put in the comments section. You know, you can see the website there, but I'll put in the comments section to where to take advantage of the deal. And Joe, again, thank you so much. And guys, I'll see y'all later.
Thanks, Glenn.